This show is part of the RetroZap.com podcast network. And welcome everybody to another Freakazoid episode of the Animaniacast.
We interrupt our regularly scheduled program to bring you this special report from the WB Network.
What exactly is the WB? Can someone tell me this? What's it mean, the WB? The water bucket? The wimpy boy? The wet bananas? I don't know what. The weird butt? What? I'm asking.
This has been a special report from the Weird Butt Network. We now join Freakazoid, already in progress.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Freakazoid and Friends. It's the spin-off series, of course, of the Animaniacast, and we are the only podcast out there that lets you freak out about Freakazoid. Here we pick a random episode, revisiting all the cultural references and gags, and in the end, we give the episode a water tower rating. I am moron. No, wait. I am Joey. I'm sorry. And joining me once again are my co-hosts in California. It's my brother Nathan.
I am Nathan.
And across the country in Georgia, it's Kelly.
I don't do voices.
Okay. Oh, we were so close.
Unless it's Yoda, I'll do a Yoda voice. But
okay. You have to say you hear say I am Kelly in a Yoda voice, or Kelly I am.
Kelly I am.
There we go. Perfect. So he's from another planet. It's it all fits, right? Well, today we are talking about, yes, as Nathan put in the show notes, a very random episode of Freakazoid. Mm-hmm. Goodness knows how random we are.
It's not really, though, is it?
No. Well, I think every episode of Freakazoid is very random in many ways. So in many ways, this episode is perhaps one of their most random. But this is sequentially the same as we've been going 1, 2, and now we're into episode 3 of Freakazoid.
But you never know which episode we're going to do.
Yeah.
Like next week, we could do 4 for all we know.
Well, next week we're not doing Freakazoid, so...
Well, yeah, but I mean, in 4 weeks from now, we could do 4 for all I know.
Yeah, I think that's a strong bet. If I were in Vegas, I'd put all my money down on episode 4.
Who knows?
But who knows?
It could be.
So today's episode features the segments, we'll just call them the collective moron segments. And then there's Sewer Rescue, The Big Question, and which is another alien segment. And then Legends Who Lunch, as well as some network censor stuff, and some Freakazoid playing chopsticks, and a parody of a Carnival Cruise Line ad. So, yeah, this is a random episode, I would think. I think definitely.
So, yeah, there we go.
Well, if someone were to ask you about this episode in just a few words, what would you tell them? Let's start with Nathan. What would you tell him?
It's like a science fiction-y episode. At least half of it.
That's true. Very true. And what about you, Kelly?
Chopsticks and chopsticks and chopsticks and chopsticks and chopsticks and chopsticks and chopsticks, chop chop.
Yes, you go. You said you did it much better than Freakazoid did, by the way. I have to admit. Well,
that was because I was inspired by Wacko.
Yes, exactly. Another episode, by the way. Another episode that's actually written by Paul Rugg. So who knows if I don't know if the song Chopsticks has a special meaning for Paul Rugg, if it's his favorite piano song, perhaps, because he had Wacko sing it, and he had apparently Freakazoid play it as well, so who knows?
Chopsticks and chopsticks and chopsticks and chopsticks and chopsticks and chopsticks and chopsticks, chop chop. Chopsticks and chopsticks and chopsticks and chopsticks and chopsticks and chopsticks and chopsticks, chop chop.
Well, anyway, Nathan, tell us, when did today's episode first premiere?
Oh boy, I'm so glad you asked, because I had to do so much research trying to figure this out. I'm like, how come no one knows? And it turns out everyone knew already. I was just not looking. September 23rd, 1995. That was a Saturday. It was also the same day as an Animaniacs episode, the one with Hard Days Warner. You remember that? And Please Please Get a Life Foundation.
Oh, wow.
And then, so if you remember back when I read what happened on that day, it was a day after millionaire Steve Forbes announced his candidacy for the 1996 Republican Party for a nomination, and one day after movies Canadian Bacon, Empire Records, and Showgirls were released.
Well, I remember we're when we're recording this, we're already starting to get into the political 2020 race, and Steve Forbes, I do remember him. I do remember him going to run, and he had the whole flat tax thing, I believe was his whole thing. And I had no idea what the flat tax was, except that it was popular, ? With some people, and other people think it was the stupidest thing in the world. But Steve Forbes seemed like a nice enough guy, I suppose. Just a very nerdy guy. And he had Forbes magazine. There you go.
We could use a nerdy president.
Don't you think? I think we need more nerds in politics.
I guess Obama was kind of he was into pop culture and seemed to kind of know what was going on.
Obama did like Star Wars. Star Wars, but
and I guess Reagan did too.
Oh yeah, that Reagan. Yeah, to George Lucas's chagrin, Reagan liked Star Wars, but but yeah, we need a nerdy president. I think I'm tired of people that presidents that are trying to prove something, and nerds are just they're the people who just want to get stuff done and get it right, and yeah, more nerds. Vote nerd for president in 2020. And if that means Trump is nerdy, then sure, vote for him, I guess, right? I don't know. We're not political.
No, they should vote for the brain.
Vote for the brain. That's right.
A true nerd.
He is very nerdy. So maybe nerds are not the best person to put into office. He's pretty nerdy. Okay, I take back everything I said about nerds. Okay, let's go ahead and move in to our discussion of episode 3 of Freakazoid. And we're going to start off with I guess a discussion of the moron segment. And these moron segments were written by Tom Ruegger. This is actually kind of a cold open / moron opening. The cold opening of this is Freakazoid is at the White House, and Bill Clinton's there, and there's a nuclear warhead that has landed right on like the doorstep of the White House. But Freakazoid has saved it, saved everybody, and everyone's there to say yay. And apparently they just let people get on the White House lawn. Because there's like thousands of people just there, including celebrities. We have, Sharon Stone is there and Princess Diana. They're both very much like, hey, Freakazoid, what's up?
And on behalf of the United Kingdom, I want to personally thank you, Freakazoid, in a very personal way, if you catch my drift.
Yeah, well, cool your jets, princess, and wait your turn. He's taken. Sharon.
And even John Paul II comes down to bless this whole scenario. What happened, I guess, was they just started the show early. So
yeah, we missed the very beginning.
We missed all the action. Oh man.
This was without a doubt the most exciting Freakazoid adventure of all time.
Hey kids, sorry you missed it, but I got started early today.
So they go on to say, well, Freakazoid, how did you diffuse the bomb here? He goes, oh, it's easy. You just mess with this plunger, and go figure, the whole place blows up.
Allow me to be the first one to say ouch.
And that's the end of that segment right there. I guess let's talk about the first bomb segment. What are some of the things that you two liked about it? Let's start with you, Nathan.
Pope John Paul II was hilarious, I thought. I don't know if it's just my imagination, but I could totally hear people like laughing in the background as he's talking. But when he messes up Freakazoid's name,
it was either that or your brain was just laughing so loud.
I don't know, but every time I hear it sounds like Paul Rugg laughing. Just
This was without a doubt the most exciting Freakazoid. Let me try this again.
What about you, Kelly?
I also liked the Pope. I thought he was funny.
Yeah, the let me try this again. Yeah, I liked I like seeing the caricatures of Princess Diana and Sharon Stone were pretty interesting. The fight between them, the little cat fight that they have, Princess Diana was really going after Sharon Stone, just pulling her face, and at one point Sharon Stone bites Princess Diana's leg. This, of course, is it was bittersweet because shortly after. When did Princess Diana die in the car?
1997, August 1997.
97. So, 2 years later, Princess Diana would, of course, die in that car crash. So
we are still sad.
Yeah, exactly. So, seeing this episode years later, it would be always kind of like a sad thing, you go, oh, there's Princess Diana. Oh. So you never know. You don't know how these things happen, but still, it's a very funny episode. Very funny opening segment, I suppose.
I didn't realize that was Sharon Stone at all.
Yeah, I just knew it was Sharon Stone because of the way he goes, Sharon.
I only knew after I looked it up in the show notes.
Oh, well,
I was like, Sharon? Who? Sharon who?
I think the writers of Freakazoid and Animaniacs, they had a thing for Sharon Stone. She was big in the mid-'90s, let's put it that way. If you said Sharon... in the 90s, people knew who you were probably talking about. Basic Instinct was, it was big. It was big.
I still have never seen that movie.
I think I saw some of it one time.
I've seen parodies of it.
We've all seen some of it.
Yeah.
I've seen so many parodies of it. I'm pretty sure I've seen it.
Yeah. There's that one, where's that one, great, I want to say great parody, but there's I don't know if it's Wrongfully Accused or what's the one where it's like a mafia film. It's a mafia parody. I think there were so many different parodies of it at the time. That you're right, Nathan. I really feel like I've gotten the gist of Basic Instinct. Well, anyway, let's go, then we go to the theme song. Actually, before that, we get to the network censor. And the network censor pops up a few times just to be, hit once again by anvils that are always flying down to hit her.
And I just want to assure our young viewers out there that no one was hurt in the previous scene. Everyone is okay. Including me.
She looks like, and I'm forgetting the actress's name, but... the woman, she's in the Harry Potter films. She was in Hook. I think she played Wendy, like the old Wendy in Hook or something like that.
Oh, Maggie Smith.
Yeah, doesn't she kind of look like Maggie Smith to me?
Not at all.
Not at all? Well, that's who I always thought it
they're
looked
both
like.
Women, I guess.
Well, when I was a kid, I thought it was a caricature of Maggie Smith. And I'll say, okay, but Maggie Smith, just to me, has always looked, it's remarkable. She's just one of those people that has looked pretty much the same for the past 20 or 30 years.
Well, it's because she's always plays old.
Yeah.
When she was young, playing old people, so now she's...
Not in Clash of the Titans. She's actually in the original Clash of the Titans.
Oh.
Well, I just think back in Hook, playing this like such an old, like, oh man, that she must be like 90 years old.
Yeah, she's going to die any second now, and she lived another 30 years, and plus, she's still around.
Yeah.
It's like Wilford Brimley, because he's been old my entire life, and I mean, he's still old.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, exactly. Well, but regardless of who she's parroting, you made me, think about Maggie Smith at least, and still around. It's kind of like Don Knotts. Don Knotts was playing old characters since he was in his 20s or something like that. It's just what happens when you look like that. Okay. Well, we come back and then we get to perhaps my favorite segment of this entire darn cartoon, and this is Moron. Moron is an alien that comes down to the White House. They first think that Moron might be delivering the wisdom of the universe, but if he doesn't, they'll just blast him, as the general says. Well, Moron is going to give him the special message and just can't really get it out. Always says his name's Moron.
I am Moron. I come with a important message for all mankind.
And what is that message?
I am Moron.
So they just blast him.
I feel
it's like I am Groot.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, he probably has this like sophisticated language that we just don't understand.
Maybe, although there's certain things of Moron's design that I think are just so funny. Like his helmet, starting with the top, his helmet, the radioactive symbol on the top, and the nipple on the top of it, the baby bottle nipple looks weird. And then on his shirt, which doesn't fit, he has an R and an L to show him which side is right and left. He's apparently been eating a lot when he's on the ship, because my guess is it must have been a very long flight from his planet to Earth, because that shirt does not fit well. Well, anyway, we'll see him a little later in the episode. But that's Moron, and he's voiced by Stan Freberg, by the way. And Stan Freberg was a legendary voice actor and comedian and satirist and songwriter and just a hilarious guy. He wrote many, many, many funny songs. In fact, he was very much kind of the Weird Al Yankovic of his day. And he also did a lot of Looney Tunes characters, as well as, I think he was even Cecil in Beanie and Cecil. So, yeah, Stan Freberg. I bought a lot of his albums in the 90s, not even knowing that he was Moron. But let's talk about this segment. Kelly, let's start with you. What did you think about the segment Moron?
What did you call her?
I mean, it made me think of like Mars Attacks.
That's okay. Yes.
Which I've never even seen all of that movie, but I think they're kind of standing around the White House and talking to the aliens, from what I remember. So it sort of reminded me of that, and he looked goofy.
And Nathan, what about you?
I know what 2 + 2 is, but Moron didn't.
What is 2 + 2?
Year 22. I am Moron.
We can pretty much rule out the wisdom of the universe.
Then let's blast him.
I loved this segment as a teenager. I was looking at the date. I think it was a junior in high school when this came out, and I loved it so much that I would actually recite it to my friends just doing my moron voice. Just the the whole thing. I thought it was hilarious. Every noise that he makes made me laugh. I know I'm speaking as it very with a lot of nostalgia, but I still think it's funny. I think it's very funny, in fact. But keeping that in mind, I mean, it's interesting to see Kelly, who has never seen these episodes before. It may not work necessarily for a first time for an adult at the same time. Necessarily. Maybe for some.
I don't know. I quote that all the time. I think it's probably the most quoted thing from Freakazoid is the I am moron.
Oh, really? Wow.
I feel like it. Maybe just because I'll just randomly say it. But
well, I actually made a GIF of moron because he's just. I'll have to put that up on our Facebook page or something like that. But he just because the parts where he just is twiddling around doing nothing, and you think he's going to say something, and of course nothing happens, and it really is a sketch that keeps going and very reminiscent, I think, in some ways of Handman, I guess, because Handman just kept going, and you think it's going to end, and now he's going to do it, and it keeps going. So, yeah, so Moron just kept on stalling, and actually never said anything. They just blast him away. So perhaps Kelly, did you like that when it was just he was done? They just blasted him away.
Oh, yeah.
Because I get the feeling that Moron, you did not really find this segment incredibly funny.
No. I did like the part where the aliens came to ask about the Barbie, but is that considered part of the Moron sketch?
Well, we'll get to that in a little moment. So, yes.
Okay, I like that part.
Well, before we get to the whole next alien segment, we'll call it, we have Lord Bravery. And with Lord Bravery's first cartoon called Sewer Rescue. And Sewer Rescue was written by Paul Rugg, and it was directed by Dan Reba. And it started off with a very cool song.
He feels no pain, he can fly quite fast. In feats of strength, he is unsurpassed. His grip is firm, never quavery. Britannia superhero, he's Lord Bravery. Lord Bravery, Lord Bravery, Lord Bravery.
Sung to the tune of a British tar is a soaring soul. From Gilbert and Sullivan's HMS Pinafore. Which is, again, we're talking about Paul Rugg, and as we mentioned last episode with Tom Ruger, Paul Rugg is a huge fan of Gilbert and Sullivan. And so no big surprise. I mean, he wrote HMS Yakko, and here he is doing some more Gilbert and Sullivan.
But if you don't recognize the song from Gilbert and Sullivan, you may recognize it from Sala singing a couple of lines in Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. Or Raiders of the Lost Ark, whichever you prefer to call it.
Indeed.
A British tar is a soaring soul, as free as a mountain bird. His energetic fist should be ready.
I love that song, and but I could not grasp the similarity between it, probably because Sala and these Rob Paulson policemen sound and look so differently. It looks very much in the style of a British, very Monty Python-esque look to it, really. So anyway, and of course the sketch is very Monty Python-esque. This whole sewer rescue thing. So
I thought it had a Python.
Oh,
vibe.
it seemed this is like Paul Rugg channeling Monty Python.
Okay,
but
because my Monty Python knowledge pretty much extends to the Holy Grail.
oh yeah. Well, Kelly, why don't you tell us what happens here in Sewer Rescue?
Okay, so Lord Bravery is hanging out at his house, trying to search for crime, and his wife and mother-in-law, and his mother-in-law sort of looks and sounds like the Ma Fratelli in the Goonies, by the way. And if you haven't seen the Goonies, go watch the Goonies because it's amazing.
Or Throw Mama from the Train, which I think is
That's
Goonies is better, and it's executive produced by Steven Spielberg. Thank you.
that's true. But Danny DeVito directed the other one, so if you're a
But
Danny DeVito fan, like I know all these meme creators are. These guys, they have to put Danny
Spielberg
DeVito in everything.
Spielberg's better. Okay.
Spielberg is better, I agree.
So they want him to go get some tea out of the kitchen because they can't walk the 3 feet to go get the tea, and he gets the tea, and they complain because he doesn't have the sugar, and they're like, you're not really a very good superhero, and he's like, what do you want me to do? Fly around looking for crime? And yeah, it's a really good idea. Why don't you go do that and go pick up some sugar and some sticky buns and everything while you're at it?
Mother does have a point, Nigel. This superhero business doesn't seem to be paying off.
Well, not yet, but it will. Do you think Superman started right at the top?
Yes.
Well, yes, he did, but not the others. Takes years to establish yourself as a superhero.
All the same, a little less time listening to your radios and more time spent rescuing people might be better.
Well, what do you expect me to do? Just fly around all day looking for people to save?
Good idea. And get some milk while you're at it.
And some sugar.
Oh, and Nigel, some chickpeas for the salad.
And bouillon cubes.
Yes, Mother needs her bouillon cubes.
And some sticky buns. Don't forget the sticky buns.
Don't forget the sticky buns.
So he finally goes out, and there's a man trapped in the sewer and yelling for help. And so he approaches the sewer, and he says, I am Lord Bravery, and I'm going to help you out. But then he's like, what is the smell? And the guy says, I think I'm in the sewer. So he's like, ew, gross. And so he doesn't want to go down there, and he offers to throw a rope and asks the guy, why can't he just climb up? He's like, well, if I could climb up, I wouldn't be calling for help.
I'm a superhero, aren't I?
I don't know. Are you?
Yes, I told you. I said, fear not, Lord Bravery has arrived.
Oh, I thought that was a joke.
A joke?
Yeah, to keep me from focusing on my horrible pain.
Yes, well, it's not a joke.
Good, because it didn't work. Oh.
Look, I'm going to throw a rope down, too.
A rope? I thought you were going to come get me.
From the sewer?
Superman would do it.
Well, he's not here.
Where Bravery's getting really irritated, but he won't go down in the sewer, but he's trying to help in his limited capacity. And the guy says, why don't you send down those turtles that wear the bandanas? Because I think they'd like it, they'd really enjoy it, by the way.
Listen, would you please stop talking and just grab onto the rope, all right?
Do you want to call for Superman, or should I?
Oh, fine.
Poor Lord Bravery. He's trying to do his best job of being a British superhero, but can't quite get it done. I don't know if he really wants to be a superhero unless it's convenient for him. Well, anyway. Nathan, let's start with you. What were some of your favorite moments in Lord Bravery?
I liked the throw mama from the train, mama.
Well, she was voiced by, I believe, Mark Slaughter is his name. And do you recognize that same voice from an episode of Animaniacs at all?
No.
Okay, I believe the cartoon was named Windsor Hassel, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, okay.
And there's the Queen Mum is there.
Oh, yeah.
She wants some tea, right?
I remember now.
I don't want to do this poop anymore. I want some tea.
So he's doing the same woman voice, like, and it could be. I think it's probably based off of what's her face from Goonies and Throw Mama from the Train, but who knows? That just might be his old woman voice, and just coincidentally sounds like that. I don't know. Jeff Glenn Bennett does the voice of Lord Bravery, and he does a very John Cleese-ish voice right there, and. I mean, he did it a few times on Animaniacs as well. I mean, he was like the bitten on the butt waiter, and and the candy store owner in the big candy store. What was that thing's name? I don't know what his name was. Flaxseed. Yes. So he's been, you got to get Jeff Glenn Bennett out there whenever you need you can't afford John Cleese, you get him to do that. And Michael DeBars was the man in the hole. I thought that was Jess Harnell, but apparently it's not.
If I could climb out, I wouldn't be yelling help now, would I?
Well, you could have at least yelled, "Help! I'm trapped in a sewer!"
What would that have done?
Saved me a trip.
I just like how he thought that it was all a joke so that it could distract him from the terrible pain he's in, which it didn't work, and just like it's very dark. But
apparently, Michael DeBar is he played the reoccurring role of Murdoch on MacGyver.
Oh.
Apparently.
We used to watch MacGyver.
Yeah. I never watched the show myself. I know MacGruber, but I don't know MacGyver. Well, yeah, so I really like this little... I mean, just like little things. This poor Lord Bravery, like, he wants to get, like, photographic proof of himself doing something for the newspaper so he can get more work. And what happens? The little boy runs off with the camera. You can't win. Well, after Lord Bravery, we have another alien visitor. And this one actually looks a little bit more intimidating. And it's a different ship. At first I thought it was Moron again, but it's not. It's he's not. Moron was like flying the same kind of ship from the day the Earth stood still. And this alien who comes out almost looks sort of like that alien, but without a metal mask. Anyway, he has an important question for Earth, and it's just who's Barbie's sister? And luckily, Freakazoid saves the Earth from these aliens and tells them it's Skipper, and that makes the aliens very happy, and they all fly off.
Let me handle this. It's Skipper!
Skipper. Hey everyone, it's Skipper!
So yes, Kelly, what were you yelling that answer? Did you know this answer before the?
I did and I didn't, because I was like, well, it could be Skipper because she's Barbie's sister, but then she's also got a sister named Kelly.
Yes, that's true.
So Skipper was like the first sister that I remember that she ever had, and Kelly was like after I was even playing with Barbies.
Yeah,
so
I want to say Kelly came out in like the late 90s, like mid to late 90s or something, doesn't it?
Yeah, I never had the Kelly Barbie.
Yeah.
So I wasn't sure which one they were going with. So, but I figured it was one or the other.
I remember watching this and being very proud that I knew Skipper, even though it's like who cares about this stuff? But it was like a trivia question that I could answer at the time.
Well, yeah.
Nathan, anything you liked about this cartoon?
It's funny how proud Freakazoid is to know trivia, and it just makes it, because trivia, the whole point is that it's trivial knowledge. Like you don't need to know it, yes. But this is happened to save the world.
Exactly.
If you're trying to be on Jeopardy, you need to know it.
Exactly. So there you go. And it could save the world. You never know when something You need to know this thing, and there you go.
And if Bill Clinton didn't have the help of Freakazoid, we would possibly all be dead because he thought it was Pebbles.
All I can think of is Pebbles.
Pebbles, which obviously is from Flintstones.
Yes.
So.
I thought it was Pebbles. All right. Well, Moron comes back once again.
I am Moron.
Now knock that off.
And if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure that is reference to the classic comedian, and I'm stalling for time, Jack Benny.
You've got a lot of nerve saying that I'm stealing your style. Everything I've done since I started in show business 22 years ago. And if I were going to copy anybody, it wouldn't be an unfunny, untalented upstart like you. Well, now cut that!
Are either one of you familiar at all with Jack Benny? And
Mostly in name only.
yeah, he's a classic comedian and still regarded as one of the legends of comedy right there. So kind of a nice little obscure reference right there if you catch it. Now we get to the musical interlude. Ooh. Musical interlude, not much to this. In fact, they never even animate Freakazoid's hands, so this really felt kind of tagged on, but still very funny for me. Freakazoid tries to play chopsticks, and he can't. And
I mean, he can play it better than I can.
That's true.
Like, you know what song he's playing. He's playing it well enough that you know the song, but
I think Chopsticks is one of the only songs I can play on the piano. And I think if Freakazoid was just trying to do it just the standard, I'm in second grade and I'm learning a song on the piano version versus the flourishes that he tries to put on and fails each time, he'd probably do pretty good. But hey, it works. Okay, so now let's get to a short segment. It's called Legends Who Lunch.
And now, the Legends Who Lunch. Candid conversations with the superheroes of yesteryear.
And Legends Who Lunch was written by Tom Ruegger, and it was also directed by Dan Reba. Nathan, tell us what happens here in Legends Who Lunch.
All right. Well, we join Freakazoid, who's a server, and he's listening to some candid conversations from superheroes from yesteryear, I believe. And they're all older superheroes, and they're telling old stories. So, like, Aqualad or someone is talking about when he almost killed Aquaman's Uncle Leo, who was turned to a shrimp scampi or something. And then another superhero is talking about the time he fought the green fog and it smelled really bad. And then another guy's like, well, you should have smelled the brown fog. It was so much worse.
There he is, the brown fog, choking you, your eyes burning. I thought I was gonna die. Well, what'd you do? What could I do? I lit a match, he blew up, end of story.
It's like a part joke. It's pretty good. And and then that same superhero returns his food because there might be a bomb in the pastrami, and that's pretty much how the whole segment is.
Yes,
really
that guy who's returning the pastrami, voiced by Maurice LaMarche, is the Crimson Kvetch. Yes, so there you go. In fact, yeah. We'll go ahead and go over the gag credit, I suppose, right now, because it basically lists off all the characters that you see in this scene. We have the gag credit at the end of the show today says, Anteater, like Aunt, Ant.
Yeah, that's the one that she has the long mouth.
Yes, Anteater, Lady Varicose, the Mighty Varian, Captain Sharpay, the Stigmatist, Frost Heaves, Sergeant Scurvy, and Crimson Kvetch appear courtesy of Freakazoid Comics. Freakazoid comic characters, the F! And all other indica and logos may not be duplicated, drawn, or talked about without prior written consent of Freakazoid Comics, a subsidiary of Time Warner. Failure to abide by these restrictions will bring swift and appropriate action by what will soon be the world's largest communication company. We're so big, we could make your cable go out if we wanted, or print hurtful lies about you in time, or follow you wherever you go, and you'd never know we're doing it, because we're so secretive and big. We could, so watch it. So I feel a little scared now doing all these clips of Freakazoid and stuff, because now I'm worried that Time Warner and stuff is going to come after me. Perhaps, they're not as big as they used to be. Disney's the people you have to worry about now. There.
It's true.
Anyway. Well, Kelly, what are some of the things in this one right here that you liked?
I thought the characters were well drawn.
They had very interesting designs. The guy with the fridge on his head, I don't know which character that was, but that's
I don't know what that was about.
Oh man. Okay. Yeah. Let's see if I can figure.
Zippy the Fast Boy, the green. I don't know. I can't. I don't know who he could be, but I don't see any fridge boy, so I'm just gonna say
Frost Heaves.
Oh, Frost Heaves. Yep, that's got to be him. Well, Nathan, what do you think? What did you like about this one?
The brown fog joke, I guess. I don't know. It's fine. I think the character design is probably the most interesting thing in the episode.
Well, this one, I do. This one is kind of a low part, I guess, for the episode for me. I still kind of is slightly amused by it. I like the whole pastrami joke. It's gonna blow. That stuff, but I don't know. I really felt like it was like the beginning of a concept, and then it never really got as far as it could. Like, I don't know. It seems like it's one of those shows, like almost like Jerry Seinfeld does now with what's his one coffee show they does, Comedians in Cars or whatever, where they just go and they talk in the diner and stuff like that. It almost felt that kind of a segment to me, where you get these famous old people together.
The diner exterior kind of reminded me of Seinfeld.
Yeah, it did, didn't it? That delicatessen they were in, and it was it really seemed like it was taking place in New York, perhaps, especially with the Maurice LaMarche's very thick Yiddish accent going on right there, which I did think was very, very good. But yeah, let's go ahead and move on to a few little quick segments. We have the finale. We have actually two finales, I guess, to this episode. And first, we take you all the way over to the Hollywood Bowl. And Freakazoid's there, and he's saying goodnight to everybody, and Moron steps out one more time.
Me remember message.
Could it be I am Moron?
No, it is a giant comet heading to Earth.
And everyone very quickly, frantically but very quickly, escapes the Hollywood Bowl before the comet hits everybody. And actually, I forgot to say that Freakazoid saved Moron, and they all left. So I don't know if he had to really worry, though. Moron just got shot at, blown up, and everything. I don't think anything can destroy Moron.
Yeah, I think he's indestructible.
Yeah. So he didn't need to save him. He could survive a comet hit. But perhaps the biggest cultural reference in this sucker right here was the fighting scene. And Freakazoid says that, we hope you enjoyed watching this episode as much as we had fun making it. Of course, they're not really having a lot of fun on the side. Paul Rugg and John P. McCann are strangling one another. Tom Ruger and Paul Dini Ruger has Paul Dini's choking Tom Ruger. He's sitting on his shoulders, I believe. And of course, there's the one and only Mr. Steven Spielberg.
I didn't see him.
Yes, you did.
I didn't look for him.
This is
how did you not? Yeah, I was like, oh, Kelly's gonna be so excited for this.
Yeah,
I always watch it on my phone, and so it went, small screen. It went by kind of quickly, but I should have paused it and looked, because I looked. I did.
Well,
I always look.
you always got to keep your eye. We'll give you a heads up next time because he does have at least. Well, the next appearance, I don't know if you don't see Spielberg, what I think on his next appearance, I'm a little worried about it. And actually, it's on the same
Pretty
episode.
obvious.
Yeah, he's on at least two. No, he's on at least 2 times. One of which he's back with. I feel like you're gonna like it a little bit more. Moron does come back later in the series,
really?
Kelly. But Spielberg is on the episode too, so I think and it's a very Spielbergian episode. I think you're gonna like Moron when he comes back next time.
Okay,
I'm pretty sure.
When can we get to that one?
Yeah, we get to that one in about a while. It's gonna be a few months. So patience. It is time to eat as well. Anyway, but Tom Ruegger is fighting over a script. They're pulling on a script, and Gene McCurdy's on one end, Steven Spielberg's on the other, and Tom Ruegger's on the third end. So, pretty cute. And I didn't know the other folks. Like, those are the ones I could see right away and go, okay, I recognize those caricatures. But the other ones are apparently Jack Hyder, Mitch Schauer, Dan Reba, Scott Geralds, Ronaldo del Carmen, which are, some of the directors and stuff like that. So anyway, you can hear Paul Rugg's voice, by the way, and then Rob Paulson and Tress MacNeille are voicing some of the other folks. So, yeah, there you go. There's your little segment right there in the Hollywood Bowl. Nice little way to close out this little segment, or so we thought. Nathan, what did you think about the finale here in the Hollywood Bowl?
I liked seeing Spielberg and just a nice goodbye from Freakazoid. It was nice. Yeah.
Okay, Kelly. I guess you can't say your favorite part was Spielberg because you didn't see him.
No.
But if you...
I have betrayed him.
Oh no.
Sorry, Steven.
Well, it's okay. What was there anything else in here that you thought was cool?
I mean, it would have been cool if I'd seen Steven. Also, it was cool seeing the Hollywood Bowl because it made me think of John Williams. So
yeah, I've never been to Nathan. You actually live in LA, obviously. Have you gotten a chance to actually see anything performed at the Hollywood Bowl yet?
I don't know.
He does. John Williams does like a concert every year, right about the time of Dragon Con. So I haven't been to any of those. I've only been to Tanglewood and here in Atlanta, but it always seems like it'd be cool to go.
I still have yet to see John Williams perform live. I really want to make sure to do that, obviously, as soon as possible. Because he's not going to be doing... You can't think he's getting out there. He's not going to be doing performances live that much. Okay, sorry. I've been...
You had a bunch of static.
I know. It's like, I didn't know what... Kelly lost some... She's losing air on there or something like that.
Silence.
Okay. Well, anyway. So we think that's the finale, but no, we get one extra little bonus finale. And this is a parody of the Out Here commercials from, I believe, Carnival Cruise Line.
Out here, we're on vacation. We have left work behind. That's why we don't have any clips to show from the next episode of Freakazoid. We'd better get to work. So fade out already.
I don't really remember these Out Here commercials at all. Do you? I know, Nathan, you probably don't, but Kelly, do you remember?
I remember Kathy Lee Gifford ones.
Yeah, well, that's, if you could see me now.
Wasn't that Carnival?
Yeah, I believe so.
Well, apparently that was a better publicity thing than the other one.
Well,
parodying. I don't remember it either.
Maybe this was like when they got rid of Kathy Lee for a while and they decided to be all cool, and it almost looked like a Calvin Klein type ad, right? Or Calvin Klein Obsession. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Well, just a little note on this. Nathan, do you notice they use these a lot more, like in the DVD, I think? It might have been in the first volume. Did they have a list, like a bunch of these on there?
Yeah, I watched all of them. They're on the third disc, or the, side B of the second disc. And they have like 6 of them or something. I don't know.
Right, because they
just watch. Yeah.
What was the story? They needed promos or something?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the WB was like, oh, we need promos for Freakazoid, and they hadn't made anything yet. So they're like watching TV, and they're seeing these Carnival cruises, and like, oh, we should just do that, and that's what they did. They just, and they're like, we even say it in the promos. There's a bunch of them, but the one they show on this one is the one where they say, we need to get to work.
Yeah.
We need to...
Yeah, it's even funnier when you think of it as a promo, because it really goes to show you how they were just making this show as fast as they possibly could. I think the story is that they had like half the amount of time that they're usually allowed, to make a show. Like they had to scramble to get it out in time. So perhaps that's one of the reasons why they just got to get away with so many just random things, like in today's episode. Now, I personally liked it a lot, but I want to find out what you guys thought about it. Let's go ahead and get to our water tower rating. Well, what do you think? Out of 5 water towers, how many would you give today's episode? Nathan, let's start with you.
Oh boy. Okay. I don't think it was as good as last week's episode. Or I'm saying last week's, but a month ago. Yeah. But I gave that one a 3.5. So I'm gonna have to go lower than that. Do I go to 2.5? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna say 2.5. I feel bad, but I'm gonna do it 2.5 because there's none that like I enjoyed the moron segments, and I think everything else I didn't really enjoy that much. I guess.
Oh wow.
I mean, okay. I like the musical interlude. But for a Freakazoid episode, if I was like, oh, you got to see this Freakazoid episode, I probably would skip this one after seeing it, even though I remember it so fondly.
Gasp. Yeah. Well, Kelly, now it's your turn. We're gonna go to you, and then we're gonna end with me, so we can end on a high note. Okay, Kelly, what did you think? What was your rating of today's episode?
I like the 2.5 score too, because I would rank it lower than I guess what I ranked the first episode, and I definitely liked it less than the previous episode. I can't even give it points for Steven because I didn't see him. So we're gonna put Steven in there. They need to make sure that so points deducted. My lack of Steven sighting. Yeah, 2.5 sounds good to me.
All right. Well, I like this one more than the last episode. And in fact, I almost wanted to give it, I was like, because the moron segments, it's total nostalgia for me. And I just remember just literally laughing out loud hysterically when I first saw these things. And when the sensor got hit, I would laugh and laugh and laugh. And when Moron would say his thing, I would laugh and laugh and laugh. And just being able to easily, at least for me, easily do the impression of Moron, and just memories of, I want to say entertaining my friends with it, but probably more annoying my friends with it. Whatever. I was in drama. I acted weird. I just got to give this one a 4 out of 5. I almost gave it 4.5, but you two talked me down by a half water tower. So the only segment I thought was pretty weak was the lunch one with the superheroes. I was just like, like that one just it seemed like if you got rid of, like, I liked all the randomness of the other stuff, but it seems like they should have maybe gotten, if they had the opportunity to, take their time on it, they could have, expanded on the lunch one, or made them do something other than just eat, or I don't know, talk more about than just one story. But Lord Bravery, just again, I think when I was younger, I maybe didn't like him as much, but now I really, really like him a lot. Four water towers for me. So there we go. Well, next week we're going to be doing another comic book episode. So Nathan and I will be talking about what are we on now? Issue number 14 or 15? I honestly forget.
Somewhere up there.
It's the one with Pesto on the cover. I know it's that one. So we're going to be reading through that comic and reviewing it. But then after that, Kelly, we're all going to be talking about Tiny Toon Adventures once again. And you wanted to pick, I believe this was Season 2, Episode 9, called Henny Youngman Day. And why did you want to talk about this episode?
Because baby Plucky water go down the hole.
That's right. It's the potty years episode. So we're going to be able to see, little baby Plucky get potty trained, and also Henny Youngman as well. So, we're going to go ahead and talk about that soon. And we hope you enjoy that one. I know that's a classic right there. I can't wait to talk about that one. Let's go ahead and get to some contact information. Kelly, where can people get in contact with you online?
Twitter at Yoda Princess, YODAPRNCSS, or email me at Kelly. Email me Kelly@BigShinyRobot.com.
All right, very good. And what about you, Nathan?
Oh, Joey, I'm on Twitter. JangoFT, that's me.
All right.
And Discord, I guess, or something. I don't know. It's some other stuff.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, definitely Discord as well. And, of course, you can join us, the whole Animaniacast folks, and, hey, our listeners and also podcasters from the entire RetroZap crew over at discord.animaniacast.com. That can be your welcome link right there, ladies and gentlemen, to join Discord, the RetroZap Discord group, that is. And, you talk about anything pop culture. There's even, sections now about what music you're listening to right now, which, I don't know. I don't listen to much music these days because I'm constantly listening to podcasts. So, but hey, if you are listening to music, you could talk about it in there. And, or, superhero stuff or any, Star Wars stuff or really anything. So it's all there at discord.animanicast.com. And of course, the Animanicast, we're on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. You can support us in many different ways. There's our TeePublic store, teepublic.animanicast.com. You get a full collection of different Animaniacs and Pinky the Brain, Freakazoid designs by artists, and you support the artist, and you support us by making purchases there. And of course, if you're making purchases on a little site called Amazon, you could go to amazon.animanicast.com, and please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, and we will share your positive 5-star reviews on the show. I think that pretty much does it. So for Nathan and Kelly, this is Joey saying good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
This podcast is not endorsed by Warner Brothers or Amblin Entertainment and is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Animaniacs, Tiny Toon Adventures, Freakazoid, the Warner Brothers logo, all names, pictures, and sounds are registered trademarks and or copyrights of their respective trademark and copyright holders. All original content of this podcast is the intellectual property of the Animaniacast unless otherwise indicated.
Hello, Kelly. I quit.